Welcome, lovely listeners, to the first episode of the European Herpetoculture.Podcast. As the name suggests, this podcast is all about shining a light on European herpetoculture and the people within. And this is going to be our first episode. We are super excited about this. During this first episode, we would like to introduce ourselves and also share with you our goals and our plans for this podcast. And I'm saying our because this is not only going to be me. This is a collaboration between me and the Greenhouse Boys, which are Ben, Flo, and Till, the ones you are seeing in your screen currently. So let's start with a quick introduction on who we are, and then we'll get into our goals and our plans for this podcast. Ben, let's start with you.
Let's go. I'm the first one.
Yes.
All right. My name is Ben. I'm currently 30 years old, living in Germany. And I'm a part of the reptile community kind of all my life. Started when I was 8 years old with keeping corn snake and reptiles during my whole life. Today I'm more focused on mammals. That's my main interest, and I like to build setups.
Perfect. Now, well, let's get to Till then. Till, can you make a quick introduction on yourself?
Yes, of course. Hi, I'm Till. I'm 26 years right now, turning 27 this week. But when we release this episode, I'm going to be already 27. But I'm keeping mostly colubrids. I also have some lizards, but my main focus are plants right now. And yeah, I also love to set up nice new vivaria and experiment some things. So yeah, I'm hyped to see where this is going, guys. So I think, Flo, it's your turn now.
So my name is Flo. I'm 24 years old. I'm also from Germany, and I'm the lizard person in this podcast. Yeah, I also like to build naturalistic setups, and I'm also in the hobby for like almost 15 years now. And yeah, my niche is, like I said, weird arboreal lizards and also plants.
Really cool, guys. And there's like one theme that's really connecting you guys, and that's the fact that you use greenhouses as part of your setups. And there's one in the screen indeed. And could you guys like explain, maybe Ben can start with, how did you guys meet and how did you connect it over these greenhouses?
Yeah, so actually, like us three, we met through the Instagram. And it just happened by, back in the day, you were just using the hashtags to find, content that's interesting to you. And Flo and me, we found each other through the hashtag Tropidophorus sinicus. Yeah, it's the Chinese water skink. And Stefan, you're keeping them today. So that's the full circle. And so we just connected over Instagram. We didn't really use our face on the profile. We were just interested in what the other one was doing. Back in the day, it was before the greenhouses. Yeah, so we just connected to each other. A couple months later, found Till. And so since that day, we're just doing like exchange of ideas, video calls, kind of all the time, pretty frequently. And over the time, we grew this idea of building these amazing setups that are not just vivariums, like typical terrariums. It's more like the greenhouse vibe. So after some time, we called ourselves the Greenhouse Boys.
I think it was very funny because you guys met first, and I think we were following each other on Instagram at some time, and then I looked at your stuff, was like, oh, okay, very cool, but didn't think much about meeting you guys because I haven't made a lot of experience with meeting people from the hobby at that point. And then I was sitting on the train, and Ben was texting me like, yeah, you also follow DE Reptiles. That's my homie. What do you think? We would like to visit you. And I was like, that's strange, but okay, if they're nice. And at one point they came over and we visited the Cologne Zoo, and yeah, I think bonded over that, and it was nice to grow together and help each other with the setups and our ideas. And yeah, I think we are somehow very like-minded and somehow face towards different directions in the hobby. So that's very cool to exchange and share things together.
I think it's like now it's a total bromance, to be honest. It's like it's grew out of the hobby, just connecting over animals, and now we are like, yeah, best homies, you know? And that's the cool thing about this hobby, right? You meet random people that share the same passion, and a few years later they're like brothers. And that's the whole point behind this amazing hobby that we all share, right? Connecting, finding new people, find the same interest, sharing knowledge.
And I want to say something. Interestingly, each one of us knew about you, Stefan, independently. And so maybe for the listeners out there who don't know who you are yet, if there are any like that,
Oh, I'm
tell us
sure.
something about you.
Yeah, so it's really cool to hear you guys' story, and I definitely agree with Flo. That's what makes this interesting, and that's also going to be one of the goals of this podcast, I think. But to introduce myself, my name is Stefan. I'm a reptile keeper in the Netherlands, and I've been keeping reptiles for more than 25 years now. I run the terrarium channels for everybody who wants to see what I'm doing. Currently, I'm mostly focused on Asian turtles, and mostly the hill stream species. I really love that. And next to that, I just like to explore naturalistic keeping and try different stuff. And I'm always building. I'm never satisfied. So when we are going to do some of the episodes we are going to do, people will notice that a lot will change during the months and during the projects. So yeah, that's practically me, I think. Should be a good introduction, right?
Perfect.
Wonderful.
Do you still remember how you first got in contact with one of us? Do you remember?
Honestly, it went so organically that I can't set like a real time, but it started with Ben. I started to connect with Ben and with Flo. And for the channel, my goal was to show more and more people who were doing cool stuff. And what I saw, like you guys via Instagram, I saw a lot of cool stuff happening at your place, and it was really interesting and different, something I wanted to share. So we started to talk a bit before we actually thought about doing a visit. And after that, I believe the first person I reached out to was, of course, Flo with his setup. Like, hey, that's so cool. That's something I would like to share on the channel. And from there, it just kept rolling. You know, that week I visited Flo, I visited Till, I visited Ben, and we slept on couches next to each other, and we had an hotel. So it was
times.
absolutely great. Yeah. So just a great example of what Flo just said is how something minor, just a connecting over interest, can connect people to such a degree. So that was really cool. And after to me, I think we've hit it off. We had the same interest and also a little bit of nuance and ideas about everything. And so that's really cool. And now we are here.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I still remember because you two guys were riding with Stefan, and I was just following him. But then Flo sold Rhaphidophora cryptana to Stefan, and I had to hand it over to him at the Houghton show. And then
What
I
is
think
that,
that was the first
Rhaphidophora
time.
cryptana?
It's like a shingling Rhaphidophora species that looks a little bit like the Monstera dubia.
For
It's a
everybody,
plant.
what's a Rhaphidophora?
It's a plant that is shingling up trees or walls, and it presses its leaf. It leaves very flat to the surface, and the leaves grow like that. So it looks like a little ladder, and it has a very unique pattern.
Okay,
Yes.
interesting.
So I was just handing it over and talking to Stefan a little bit, and I remember writing you, hey, he seems to be nice in person. And now we're here.
I'm pretty sure we got to know you, Stefan, first before you got to know us. Because I've been watching your videos when I was still living back in Leipzig. And that was years ago, I can remember. And so we've been speaking about you before we ever spoke to you. So it's been a while. I'm pretty sure we got into contact with each other and maybe in Ham already, but you just didn't know us yet.
I actually thought about it today. I think the first video that I saw on your channel was like the I think it was Felsuma Clemery setup with the bamboo that hangs on like strings. This was like the first memory that I have on your channel, and then I watched all the videos. But actually, I saw you in Houghton one time, and we were messaging each other, but I was too scared to to come over to you to say hello because you were like
Starstruck.
you were like the man, you know. And now we are here talking shit, making a podcast. It's crazy.
Yeah, maybe we have to rename the podcast into Stefan and his little fanboys.
No. I do
Just kidding.
appreciate it, and it's so. I do appreciate all of this, and it's so weird to hear, and really cool because that's the goal, of course, of the channel to impact other people and to show cool stuff. And also for me, it's just an exploration, so it's cool to meet people during doing that. And I do like what Ben you just did to Till because you asked him about a plant, and I think it's cool to explain to people why we are doing this together and maybe how it all started. And maybe I can give a quick glimpse and you guys can add to that. So for the listener, as you might have noticed, we are with 4 people. And the idea behind that is because everybody in this group brings or adds something when it comes to specialization or certain interest that can benefit the podcast. And also that way we can utilize our interest and our specializations depending on the guests we are going to have, because our goal is definitely to have different guests all over the European herpetoculture. So the first year we are going to do this, no Americans allowed. It's just going to be Europeans because we really want to showcase the European herpetoculture and put a spotlight on all the cool stuff that's happening. And each of us has a certain specialization and interest. So we're gonna switch hosts depending on the guests we are gonna have or the topic we are gonna discuss. And maybe it's cool for people to know like what your guys' interest is mostly, where your specialization is, and where you find most joy and most of your and most of your passion, so people know what to expect depending on the guest and when you are gonna be one of the hosts of the podcast. So let's start with Till. I think we got a small glimpse of what your main interest is, but go ahead, Till.
Yeah, okay. So for me, it all started with colubrids. I think we can get deeper into that in the first one-on-one episode. But that was the start. No, I started with bearded wrens. I'm sorry. But then I really quick got into colubrids, and this has been my main focus for the last years. And I still love the species I'm keeping. But over I had houseplants for quite a while and some plants in some more naturalistic enclosures. Latest at the start of the Corona pandemic, I started to get more and more into plants, got a bit extremely obsessed with it at some point. And now it's, I think, my main focus to collect and breed some plants. That's the thing that gives me most joy right now.
Cool. So
The
let's
plant guy.
Yeah, definitely the plant guy. That's pretty much how we can sum it up, right? He's
Make
gonna be
it
the
get
plant
short.
guy.
Yeah, cut it out. Just say plant.
Plant guy. No, but it's a really cool description, I think. And also, but the plant guy can be more than just plants, of course. It can also be substrates and how you mount plants and which plants fit best in certain conditions and how to help people select the right plants and think outside of the box, away from the pothos and the Ficus benjamina, So I think that's going to be really cool. Now, Flo, how about you? Do you think is going to be your...
I think so. My main interest is like building supernatural enclosures or biotope setups. So because from all of us, I have like the smallest collection. I only have like one enclosure, and I'm very detail oriented, and I think that's gonna be my part of this podcast. So yeah, maybe helping people how to build naturalistic fake rocks, how to use different materials than cork or stuff to really build something unique. And also, I'm like really big into lizards, especially like arboreal, weird, obscure lizards. So I think that's gonna be my description, the lizard naturalistic guy, maybe like that. Yeah, I think that describes it the best.
Good to have you, man.
Yeah. Ben,
Welcome,
go on.
welcome. You all right?
It's okay.
No, but again, perfect. I think you with the naturalistic setups, and that's actually what I knew you from before the big setup. Is like the exoterras with the
Octobanus.
Amazon tree boas
Mm.
to keep it with the common names, something we all struggle with. But yeah, that's the main reason. And then we have Ben,
Yeah, that's me.
the mad scientist.
The crazy scientist, as you said one day. Yeah, so that sums it up pretty well, I guess. So I'm really into, building the setups. I love to, work with my hands and be creative about using uncommon materials and like design interesting, setups. So that's what I'm really into. Me, for example, I built the first of our greenhouses. So that was like the main prototype. And building like this walk-in enclosure, it was always my dream. So now I'm living it. And that's amazing. But not doing it without a reason. So I know why I'm doing it. And that's working with the most amazing animals in the world, in my opinion, and that's tiny primates. That's insane. So yeah, I'm blessed to have this opportunity, and I'm doing everything that I can to keep it safe. Yeah, so we're for sure gonna learn more about it, but yeah, for now I think that's it. The crazy scientist.
Yeah, the crazy scientist. So that's I think the perfect description. And also for the listeners, we are going to do episodes where we are going to get more into each host, so you get to know us a little bit better before we actually get into the podcasts with guests. And that also gives us a little bit of an opportunity to actually try this out, see how everything works, and learn together. And then we go into the guests. So you're going to get more than great opportunities to actually get to know each other, of all of us, pretty well, I think.
You
And
know what
yeah.
I'm really excited about, Stefan?
Tell us.
About what the listeners will say, So I'm really excited about, collecting questions online and, responding, so to keep it interactive. And I'm sure maybe we should do that for the one-on-ones, to post something on Instagram or so. Yeah, we've got an Instagram, by the way. Yeah, everybody follow. Yeah, all right. And so I'm excited about, exchange with the community. It's just not a monologue. I like it to be a little bit like a dialogue, with the community.
For sure. And that's, I think, a great introduction in maybe into how this all started and what is going to be our goals and what we would like to achieve with this podcast, of course, because we do have goals. We have talked about this before we actually started recording. And maybe we should get into how it all started and then which our goals is and what we hope for and what each of you hopes for this podcast.
Yeah.
Sounds good?
Yeah, of course. I can remember this one day when, we exchanged over WhatsApp, I guess it was, did you ever think about starting a podcast? Oh yeah, I just spoke to the boys about it. All right, so what is in your mind, Stefan? And then we could just kind of start talking about it, right? And I think the first big intent that came from you, but we met in a video call, and it was a pretty quick decision, actually. It felt like it. We were just on board, kind of, right? Or how did you remember it, Stefan?
Yeah, exactly the same. Exactly the
It's,
same.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, go ahead. I just wanted to tell. No, but exactly the same. It was actually after we all were on different podcasts that were all based in either America or in the UK. And there was this one question that was often asked, and that was, what is the difference between European and other herpetocultures? And that seemed to be really difficult for us to answer, and we all had different answers. But it also led me to think, like, if listeners are so interested in this question, then maybe it should be Europeans that actually answer this question or explore it together. And also, when I looked online, the same with channels, pretty much info channels, the European herpetoculture is massively underrepresented
That's true.
compared to other styles of keeping. So I felt like this, sorry, background noise. So I felt like this could be a great opportunity. I didn't want to do a podcast, but I felt like it was almost needed, or there was like space for something like this. And that's why I approached you guys. Like, have you ever thought about this? And when you were like, yeah, we did, then yeah, it just started
Yeah.
rolling so quickly for me.
We so maybe for the listeners, Ben, Flo, and I are regularly FaceTiming each other since we met. So that I think so we live not very close by each other in Germany, so it's some hours away. But this friendship started, yeah, via Instagram and meeting one time, but most of the times we're calling each other. And we have so much to share with each other. We have so much to tell and talk about. And at some very early point, we started joking about, hey, this could have been a nice podcast episode. And at first, it was a joke for a very long time. And then we got more and more serious. And then we came to the point where you asked us.
Mm. And also we sometimes FaceTime with, like, for example, Roy or Father Blue or Eddie, and then we were like, yo, it's really cool to connect with other keepers. We should really do a podcast. It's like the best opportunity, so everybody can listen to it, everybody finds something interesting, everybody can learn and be open and stuff like that. So I think it's the perfect opportunity.
I'm really excited about asking questions to interesting people. You know, to have high quality guests on and to be allowed to ask whatever you want. Because if you ask those people, you know, on an Instagram DM or a YouTube comment, you will never get an answer. At least not the one that you're looking for. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
I think my main goal is like to really get to know other keepers, what's in their head, what different approach they have like on keeping animals, and also exchange and share knowledge, and that a lot of people can learn from it, or we can all learn from each other. I think that's the main goal with this podcast for me, because it's like the easiest way to get to know someone and get really nice information out of somebody, because it's like, because you talk face to face, it's much more easy to ask maybe also a little bit difficult questions that some people wouldn't answer via WhatsApp or Instagram or stuff like that. And I think that's the main goal, to educate all of us together. And in the end of the day, it's like the best for the animals should be at first. So I think we can never learn enough about keeping and breeding, and yeah, that's like my main goal, the animal.
I'm really excited about what we're doing here. I think we just spoke about it today, right? Oh, I'm so excited about today. And I think it's just it can be an amazing thing that we are building here. And to be honest, kind of excited about the process of building something valuable, you know, not in terms of money, but in terms of, you know, positivity that we can spread. we can inspire people. Sooner or later, we will get messages from people who are doing it a little bit better than before, and they're doing it because of us or because of what we are doing here. And that's just going to be amazing, just to be positive and to have the opportunity to, get really deep into specific topics. I'm pretty sure we are going to do episodes one day about a specific, topic. For example, how to propagate anthurium plants by Till. Yeah. And I'm just excited to be a part of it, to be there in the first row, to ask the questions that I want to ask, and ask the questions that the people would like to, hear answered. And that's just going to be an amazing process. Yeah. Till, what do you think about it? Are you going to give us a private talk about anthurium?
I will.
Thank you, man. I'm excited.
Me too. So I think I already told you a lot of times that I'm super fed up with the direction most social media platforms are directing to, because these algorithms are more and more facing just bullshit content who keeps you addicted to the platform, and it's getting more and more annoying for me to use social media. And but that's annoying me because I really like the chances social media is giving us. Like, we would have never met without social media, and I've got so much inspiration. I learned a lot through social media, and I think a podcast is the best opportunity to keep it running. So I want to learn something, I want to get inspired, and I want to slow it down a little bit with social media. And I think deep talks and getting to new people is the best way, and we can do it with a podcast. And I hope to learn something, get inspired, and I'm very happy if somebody else learns something or gets inspired through this podcast.
I would like to ask something. It was pretty much, I want to say, soft goals. Yeah, it can be nice, it can be interesting. Yeah, it can be a cool opportunity, meet people, blah blah blah. Interesting, but can you give me some, measurable goals? Anybody? Do you have something in mind that you just want to achieve in terms of, okay, I would like to reach an audience of this size. I would like to make it to the second year. I would like to make money. I would like to put out 100 episodes. Do you have anything like that in mind, or is it just for you just to go with the flow, see where the journey leads, and it's just going to be good, hopefully? How do you
I'm very
think
curious about the rest.
Yeah. For the listeners, guess who's the salesperson in this room?
was
Okay. So Stefan, maybe you would like to answer that question.
I like that question because I always have a lot of goals, a
I
lot
know.
of hard goals. So for the channel, my goal is 10,000 subscribers. But for this podcast, my main goal is actually to have certain potential guests listen to it and be like, I want to be on that. That's my goal. For people that listen to our podcast, like, I want to be a part of this, I want to be on that. And I feel like via this podcast, I get the either spotlight I deserve, I am surrounded by like-minded people, or at least a place where my ideas find nuance and are explored. So that's my main goal. I have no idea about how many listeners means a successful podcast. I think for me, the inspiration means a successful podcast. And all of you guys have said, I hope to inspire someone. Earlier today, I got videos of a person that said, hey, I based a part of my reptile room on what I saw also in your videos. Was really inspiring, and he sent me a video and this room looked better than mine. I was like so jealous. It was amazing and stuff like that. If that happens, you're so proud, and then you're like, okay, I'm gotta keep going with this.
Like, my big goal with this is that we are like the podcast that people say, hey, if you want to learn something about reptiles and other animals, you have to listen to the European Herpetoculture podcast. So we have like a standing, you know what I mean? That's like the main goal for me. And yeah, like I said, I lost my second point. I had a good one in my head, but I don't care about numbers, to be honest. So I don't have like a number in my mind that I want to reach like thousands of listeners. I just want to be like, yeah, you know what they are doing? Yeah, crazy stuff, right? You have to give it a listen.
At
And
the end
that's
of the
like,
day, we're doing it kind of for ourselves too, right?
yeah,
So even if nobody is listening, but as long as we've got dope guests, I don't care, to be honest.
yeah.
And we're gonna find good ones. You know what I'm excited about? About the people that nobody knows about the people who listen to our podcast that are not on social media, maybe they're not sharing what they are doing, and they are talking to us about it. You know,
Getting some
these
insights
underground
about
dogs.
this.
That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah. I think Flo has his point again.
Okay. No, okay. I have two main goals. Okay. So one is like to be the top podcast when it comes to reptiles and other animals, so that people say, hey, if you really want to learn something, you need to check out the European Herpetoculture.Podcast. And the second big goal is like maybe to change the outside people of herpetoculture, the perspective on us, because like a lot of people that are on social media and are in public, it's always like a bad reputation of the crazy reptile keeper that has like thousands animal in one room and all shitty care and stuff like that. It's like, it really annoys me. And oftentimes when I tell new people I have reptiles, I'm in this hobby, I notice that I always want to say, but I'm not like you think I am. You know what I mean? It's like you have this guy in your head with crazy reptiles and it's like a messy home. I want to go away from this stigma and really show that we are a lot of great people that really care about animals and really care about conservation and provide the best of our knowledge and diving deep into this hobby and not just buy a terrarium from eBay and put a heat lamp on and buy two bearded dragons and say I'm a reptile person. You know what I mean? That's like a big goal for me, in my opinion.
We're gonna achieve it, people. I'm not sure about how long it's gonna take, but I would say I'm definitely ready for the first season. And in my world, that means like half a year of recording frequently. Maybe it's gonna take even longer than that, but I'm pretty confident about it. Do we want to speak a little bit about some potential guests that we have in mind already, or do we want to keep it like a secret? Because we have maybe just a little addition. We are building this digital brain called Notion, which is just about like organizing our podcast and collecting ideas and everything. And we've got a little database called potential guests, and it is slowly but surely filling up. So we've already got a lot of potential slots booked already, and there are interesting people on there. But maybe we will keep it a secret, right?
Yeah, keeping it a secret and
Not
don't
before.
put pressure on the people, you know.
All right.
Let's call them out. No.
If you don't come to this episode,
we are not friends anymore.
I do think it's cool to mention that on that list are a lot of different people, different ages, different viewpoints, different stages on which they are in the hobby. And it can be just simple hobbyists, private keepers who do cool stuff or who have certain species, but also professionals and maybe people who are connected to the European herpetoculture, but are not like in it like we are, but are looking a little bit more from the outside, either because they are exploring our native species, so doing a lot of herping or photography or filming, stuff like that. So people who also watch from the outside into us to discuss certain viewpoints with them. So yeah, that's going to be the potential guest. And if anybody is listening to this first episode, please, we are still learning, but listen to our first episode and you're thinking like, I'm getting enthusiastic about this, or this is a certain person I would love to hear a more in-depth talk with, and especially the people that may not be as out in the open as you would think, then please suggest them to us. You can let us know via the social media and in the reactions, because we are just four guys. Between us, we know a lot of people, all from different facets of the hobby, but there are so much more. That's what makes this hobby so incredibly beautiful, is the amount of great people that are within. And as Flo, I think you mentioned, our hobby from the outside can look very one-sided or have a certain stigmatized viewpoint, but I think our hobby is beautiful. If you can call it a hobby, I think what is happening is beautiful. And I think European herpetoculture, with all his different cultures and countries and even languages, it's just so incredibly beautiful. So I would love to highlight that. Yeah.
It's gonna be good, people.
Yeah. Is there even, we should explore the question, is there even European herpetoculture?
I'm not sure about it, to be honest.
I'm not sure, but that's
But it's
something
a
we are going to
thing
explore
on the internet, that's for sure.
Yeah. Maybe we can evaluate after the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Bigfoot, right?
Sorry, I just wanted to say, according to Stefan, and if you are out there and listening to this and think maybe you have something to share, I know sometimes it's hard to view yourself as an expert or something, but maybe you are doing something special or have something in mind that you want to share. Please reach out to us. Don't be shy. Just text one of us and we can evaluate if this would be something interesting for the podcast. So don't just suggest somebody else, but also think about yourself.
Very good, Ed. Yeah, I think it can be scary, but I think it's also important to know that this podcast is also about exploring ideas. So not directly, I put it in this type of setup with this type of light. It's more about, hey, what about this? And what do you think about this, question, this big question within what we are doing?
Definitely.
So for our listeners, for everybody who held it up to here, thank you so much for listening. You are a trooper. We are really looking forward to this. As you might have noticed, we are really excited about this. So what's going to happen is our goal is to do this at least for half a year to a year and have an episode almost every week. After our first episodes introducing every host, you're going to get podcasts with a guest, and there's going to be one host and a second, depending on the guest. And next to that, we are also going to do roundtables. I think, we are creating the podcast that we would like to listen to, pretty much. I think that's a good example, but we are creating a podcast we would like to listen to. And what we would like to do is, next to having the guest, once a month, you are going to get a podcast with the four of us. And we are going to bring you up to date to certain projects we are having, but also do a little bit of retrospect about the previous episodes. So stuff we learned, stuff we gained from our guests that we hosted, and what we have taken away with that, and maybe also apply to our own keeping or has changed our point of view on certain topics. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, and we are just going to expand on that, I think.
Yeah, and maybe we can also do roundtable episodes if there are some news that apply for all of the people in the hobbies that we can discuss, or if there are any controversial takes or themes, we can also discuss them.
Oh, you were looking for the clickbait, Till?
I'm looking for the clickbait, yeah. I want to see you get all tilted about the topic.
Yeah, maybe you also do Q&A stuff, get questions from listeners and answer them, stuff like that. I think with the roundtables we don't have like a topic that you want to discuss, so go with the flow.
So, lovely listener, please add your questions you want answered, or maybe stuff you would like to see discussed. And yeah, I think that's pretty much the end. Is there anything any of you guys want to add before we end this first episode?
I would like to ask everybody to follow us on Instagram, because that's going to be the main, spot to get in contact with us. And yeah, I think the podcast episodes are going to be published on, I think, YouTube and Spotify, right, Stefan? Or do we have
At
any other
least.
plans? Yeah, so check it out. We're really excited to, go strong, but we need your support, everybody. So don't be shy. And yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's it. That's been our first episode, guys. That's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
We're just gonna stop here.
Let's go, baby!
Yeah, let's go. Lovely listeners, thank you so much. Later this week, the first episode is gonna be online. Everybody enjoy, and we are looking forward to this.
Let's go.
Hit it.
Peace out.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought the
yeah.
raging part wouldn't be
No.
inside the episode. Oh no.